As the saying goes, it takes a village to raise a child. This saying is absolutely true. Now, on the last two episodes, we have been focusing on the topic of parenting. And this week, we want to take this topic a notch higher as we come to the conclusion. We are going to look at parenting on children with special needs. Hello and welcome to Family Matters, a program designed to look into and solve problems affecting families. I am your host, Timothy Omondi.
Can you find help? Probably have social support, probably have a house help.
If you have tried everything, like I say, and nothing seems to be working, now you need to get professional help. The child needs professional help. That is now, and it helps to know that there are people who can help, professionals who can help, so that when you don't seem to be getting anywhere, that you look for help.
It's important to have parenting classes. Right now we have a lot of media influence that you can have as much information as you want from the net, from books. Get involved. Learn a lot about what you're going to handle. But take this point. It doesn't mean it might work, but it means you're keeping an open mind with your child as the main beneficiary. You want the best for your child, so you'll try and get the best for your child without damaging them. You want emotionally healthy children because they're our next leaders.
Will the routine be interfered with if there is delay? For example, you won't go for break unless you've finished your numeracy. Break is also very important for the child, right? So by making the child not go for break, don't you think it's such a win-win situation? It's I don't know. Are you getting my question?
And that's why I said you look at what ticks for every child. Because as a child, you will tell them, if you don't finish your work, then you won't go for break. And that child doesn't care about break. There's that child who loves football so much, such that if you deny them time to go and play football, it will be disastrous to them. So you have to know what it is for every child. And even your own children at home, you need to learn them. No, this is so and so likes this, so and so doesn't care about this, and you reward or you deny lots of privileges of what they like.
Once in a while, it's good to spank. Once in a while, not, as she's saying, it's not an everyday thing. That every time you've not done your homework, I hold up my arms and we're fighting. You've not fed the dog, we're fighting. No, it's when it gets serious, you've crossed the line. Because sometimes, children today do not listen to their parents. I know better than you. What are you telling me? You tell me feed the dog, why can't you do it? So if you cross that line, you get it.
I have said many times and talked to many groups, punishment is not good. It may be easier than dialogue because you do it and get it over with, but it's not as good as dialogue. As far as a child is old enough to listen and to reason, it's better to talk to a child. When a child is a baby who cannot reason or think, too young to reason, now spanking is okay. Like a baby is playing with fire. He doesn't know that is dangerous, and he can understand if you try to tell him. So spanking at that age is okay. But when someone is old enough to reason and to listen, it's better to talk. Because punishment has a lot of disadvantages. Number one, it will make a child devise ways of avoiding getting caught instead of changing. It leads to rebelliousness. Children will become rebellious because of resentment. Or you may even destroy the child in the process. So the child, feels rejected, hopeless. So you may correct one behavior, but must destroy the child. And therefore, the question is now, what's the use of correcting one behavior if you destroy the whole child? Then again, children can get used to punishment. And once you get there now, okay, he or she is ready for it. Now you will get to a point where you will plead with him or her, please, let's sit down and have a talk. At that point they say, forget it, it's too late. Once they get used to it, well, now what do you do? So that they get to a point where they even act like they miss it. So it is not a good way, especially in today's society.
It depends. If it's a beating, then it shouldn't be like that, the hard beating, because you should be able to limit to the gravity of the punishment you're giving. Yeah, because some will say we accept, some will say we don't accept beating.
Most of the things that used to happen for us when we were small is a lot of don'ts. Don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, what are you doing? Those are a lot of criticism, and what that does to the child is kill their curiosity. When you kill the child's curiosity, you kill their learning abilities. So you either get a very withdrawn child or a child who's a non-starter because they're afraid of making mistakes. We are trying to hinder our child from making small mistakes, like when they're playing. Their children, let them play, but in a secure environment. When you shout at a 3-year-old, don't, the first thing you're doing is kill their child wonder, and that creates a lot of issues for them when they grow up. It teaches them how to become emotionally inhibited, not show their feelings, which with time give birth to other mental illnesses like depression. So be very careful when you're telling your child, don't. The alternative we give to that is positive affirmation. Stop noticing what is not happening right and start noticing what is happening right with your child. What are they doing right? As opposed to don't, listen and first try and understand why your child wants to do that. And you tell them, well, let's say it's Anne. Anne, I understand that you want to play in the dirty water. However, I will not allow that because, one, you might get ill.
Basically, we usually say that the first school of a child is your home. Basically, that's why you're here, better parenting. And most of the time, a child will come and utter a word to you and you're like, ma, yai. But when you look closely, that is a word that is used at home. When you get mad, probably you're not even communicating to your child. You're communicating to somebody else over the phone. Alright, then you get so mad and you say you use all the F words you can think about. So when the child comes here, when he gets mad, he tells F, and you're wondering, okay, so at home I'm going to ask these parents here, try and use kind words also, so that
It's true.
Yeah.
Try and talk to the child with their language, not an adult. 0 to 18, as much as teenagers we think they're adults, we have to remember that they are growing and they're actually not adults. Sometimes we expect a 3-year-old to reason like a grown-up. They can't. They are learning their world. So try and think from their point of view and try and remember how it was to be small. You are not always an adult. You were once a child who wanted to find out things. But what we lack nowadays is that sometimes we don't listen. We just criticize and we kill our children's intelligence by doing that.
We should not preach water and drink wine as parents. If you are going to tell your child don't steal, you need to actually show it by example. And not even stealing, let's go to the simple things like lying. You tell your child, I don't expect you to lie. And then when a neighbor comes and mwambie siko. That's a lie. You need to teach them by them seeing it, you do it physically, perform it so that it becomes an imprint in their spirit.
Remember, we said the parent the teachers, and the peers. So we need to work with the parents, we need to work with the teachers and the other children, because children will also copy. So if a child misbehaves in class and the teacher does not control that behavior, then the others will copy. And before you know it, you cannot control the class. So the peer, the teacher, and the parent. And that's why the last topic is on how parents can interact with the teachers. Because a teacher who knows that the parent is always getting in touch and following up, they will also take keen interest on your child, because they don't want you asking, how was my son today? And then they ask, what's the name of your son? So a parent who will keep with the school teachers, the teachers will also be keen. So the parent's responsibility, you must do your responsibility. Let's be open to new ways of parenting, ways that can work. When you combine all these things, when you combine praise for the good things, reward to shape certain behaviors, to get the behaviors you want, ignoring tantrums, using timeout. Remember, we are here to see loss of privileges and logical consequences and natural consequences. So there are so many things you can use to shape behavior. The cane should be the last resort if it must be used. So let's be open. Let's not just say this is how I was brought up. Again, we've seen parents passing wounds to other generations, thinking that is the best thing they can use. Again, our generation is different. Generations are changing because they are watching a lot of international things. They are exposed. Your children here are doing international system.
The times have changed, and it's high time we realize that our kids are facing different issues than when we faced. When we grew up, we didn't have so much technology as we have right now. Our kids are exposed to more, and we're also exposed to more knowledge than them. So at the end of the day, when our parents were bringing us up, they did not have all the influence of civilization as we are having it right now. And they did not have the challenges that we are going to face right now. Our kids might even know more than what we know, depending on what media they are using.
So they are living a totally different life from what most of us went through. Do you agree? Yes. Your children here are doing an international system. They are given homework, they go and search on the internet. They watch international TV. Most of our children are using cable TV. They are watching DSTV. Most of the time, the music they listen is not the Kenyan music. Am I right? Yes. So can you continue parenting the same children the way you are parented? No. So let's be open to new ways and see what can help with our children. When the society seems to be breaking down, then we need to analyze, where are we going wrong?
We've had a very great session organized by St. Austin, and among the things we've realized is beating and spanking is not one of the only rules that you can enforce in the home. But obviously we can set up rules and we can use rewards and incentives. We've also learned that you can have a timeout just for the kids to cool down and come around. But the most important thing is that we've learned as parents, we need to set very good examples. We need to bring our kids in a warm environment, in a loving environment, and to be firm. Obviously spanking is an African thing and we still have it at the back of our minds, but we can use it in a light mode and reasonably.
It was a very good session about parenting. You know, parenting is a class. You need to learn these things so that we have a better generation, a better future for our children. You know how to deal with them. You know how to train them to be better people. You know, even simple things like teaching them how to use the loo, teaching them how to dress up. It needs training, and most of the time you get angry, get worked up. Yes, it's a very easy thing if only we can use positive attributes.